Why do some people stay naturally slim without struggling, while you feel like you're constantly fighting your own body? You try harder, you push yourself. You tell yourself this time will be different, but somehow the cycle repeats. You start strong, then slowly lose control, and deep inside it begins to feel like something is wrong with you. But here is the truth most people never realize. It's not your willpower that's failing. It's your approach. You've been taught to believe that staying slim requires intensity, extreme workouts, strict diets, constant pressure, but your body was never designed to live under that kind of stress, and when you force it, it resists. That resistance is not weakness, it's survival. Now imagine a different way, a calmer way, a way where your body is not your enemy but your ally, a way where staying slim doesn't feel like punishment but becomes a natural result of how you live. This is the shift that changes everything. In Japan, people don't obsess over weight loss the way most of the world does. They don't chase fast results. They don't rely on extreme methods. Instead, they follow a quiet discipline, small habits, repeated daily, almost invisible, but incredibly powerful. And here's what makes it so effective: it doesn't feel hard. Because the real secret is not doing more. It's doing less, but doing it consistently. Think about your daily life, not your best day, not your most motivated moment, your normal day. The habits you repeat without thinking, that is what shapes your body. If your habits are rushed, distracted, and unbalanced, your body reflects that. But if your habits are calm, mindful, and controlled, your body responds differently. This is where everything begins to change. Start with something simple, the way you eat. Most people eat fast. They rush through meals, they barely taste their food, and before their brain can even register fullness, they've already overeaten. But when you slow down, something powerful happens. You become aware, you feel your body, you notice when you've had enough, and that awareness gives you control without force. This is not about restriction, it's about connection. When you are connected to what you're doing, you don't need to fight yourself. And that's the emotional freedom you've been missing. Because deep down, you don't just want to lose weight. You want peace, you want to feel in control without constant effort. You want to trust yourself again, and that is possible. But it starts by letting go of the idea that transformation must be intense. It doesn't. Real change is quiet. It's built in moments no one sees. Small decisions repeated every day until they become who you are. So instead of asking how to lose weight fast, ask yourself something more powerful. What is one small habit you can repeat daily without resistance? Because that one habit, repeated again and again, will do more for you than any extreme plan ever could. And once you understand this, you stop chasing results, and you start becoming the kind of person who naturally gets them. And when you begin to repeat that small habit, something deeper starts to reveal itself. The real reason you've been stuck has never been food alone. It's been your relationship with it. Most of the time, you're not eating because your body needs fuel. You're eating because your mind needs relief. Stress, boredom, frustration, even emptiness, they all quietly push you toward food. And in that moment, eating feels like control. It feels like comfort. But the relief never lasts because the hunger was never physical. This is where awareness becomes your greatest weapon. Not control, not restriction, awareness. When you start paying attention, you begin to notice patterns. You notice how often you reach for food when you're distracted, when you're tired, when your mind is overwhelmed. And suddenly, a powerful realization hits you: you've been eating on autopilot. And anything done on autopilot is hard to change. But the moment you bring awareness into the act, everything shifts. Imagine sitting down with your food and doing just one thing differently. No phone, no screen, no rushing. Just you and the meal in front of you. You take a bite, and instead of swallowing it without thought, you actually taste it. You slow down, you feel it. At first, it feels uncomfortable, because you're not used to being present, but then something surprising happens. You start enjoying less more. You don't need as much to feel satisfied, because satisfaction is not about quantity. It's about attention. This is one of the most powerful psychological shifts you can make. When your mind is fully engaged, your body responds faster. It tells you when you've had enough. And for the first time, you actually listen. Now think about how many times you've eaten until you felt heavy, not because you needed more, but because you didn't notice when to stop. That moment, that exact moment, is where transformation lives. When you choose to stop before fullness turns into discomfort, you build trust with your body. You show yourself that you don't need to cross the line every time. And slowly, your body begins to trust you back. Hunger becomes clearer. Cravings become quieter. Control becomes natural. This is not about denying yourself. It's about understanding yourself. Because the truth is, your body is not broken. It's been unheard. And when you finally start listening, everything begins to fall into place. Even something as simple as your plate can influence your behavior. When your portions are smaller, your mind accepts it as normal. You feel satisfied not because you ate more, but because your brain believes you did. This is how subtle changes create powerful results. You're not forcing discipline, you're designing it. And when your environment and your awareness work together, you no longer rely on willpower. You move with intention, you eat with clarity, you stop with confidence. That constant inner battle, it starts to fade because you're no longer reacting, you're choosing. And that choice, repeated daily, doesn't just change your body, it changes how you see yourself. Not someone who struggles, not someone who fails, but someone who understands, who adapts, and who is finally in control. And as that control begins to feel real, something else becomes clear. Your body was never asking for punishment. It was asking for movement, not extreme effort, not exhaustion, just movement. You've been taught to believe that change only happens when you push yourself to the limit. That if you're not sweating, struggling, or feeling pain, it doesn't count. But your body doesn't measure effort the way your mind does. It responds to consistency. And consistency is built through what feels easy enough to repeat. Look at your day honestly. How much of it is spent sitting still? Hours pass without movement. Your energy slows. Your body shifts into conservation mode. It begins to hold on instead of letting go. Then suddenly, you try to fix everything in one intense session. You push hard, hoping to undo hours of stillness. But your body doesn't respond the way you expect. It feels forced, temporary, draining, because that's not how it was designed to function. Your body thrives on continuous, gentle activity. Small movements spread across your day. Walking, standing, stretching. These are not small actions. They are signals. Signals that tell your body to stay active, to stay alive, to stay efficient. When you move regularly, your metabolism stays awake. Your circulation improves. Your digestion works better. Your mind feels lighter. And most importantly, your body stops resisting. This is where everything starts to feel different. Because instead of forcing change, you are allowing it. Even something as simple as walking begins to transform you. Not just physically, but mentally. It clears your thoughts, it reduces stress, it reconnects you with your body, and that matters more than you think. Because stress is one of the biggest reasons your body holds on to weight. When your mind is overwhelmed, your body reacts, it protects, it stores, it prepares for survival. But when you move gently, consistently, your body feels safe. And in that safety, it begins to let go. You don't need a gym for this, you don't need equipment, you need awareness, you need intention. Every step you take is a decision. Every moment you choose to stand instead of sit, to walk instead of stay still, you are reinforcing a new identity, an active identity, and identity is powerful. Because once you start seeing yourself as someone who moves, who stays engaged, who doesn't stay stuck, your actions begin to match that belief. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop making excuses, because it's no longer something you have to do, it's something you naturally do. That is where transformation becomes permanent. It's not about doing something big once. It's about doing something small every single day without resistance. And the beauty of this approach is that it doesn't drain you. It energizes you. You don't feel punished. You feel alive. And that feeling, that sense of lightness, both in your body and your mind, becomes addictive in the best way. Because once you experience it, you don't want to go back. You don't want to feel heavy. You don't want to feel stuck. You don't want to feel disconnected from yourself. So you keep moving, not because you have to, but because you've realized something powerful. Your body was never meant to stay still. It was meant to move, and in that movement, everything begins to change. And as you begin to move more, to feel more alive in your body, you start to notice something even deeper. Your surroundings are either supporting you or silently pulling you back. You might think your results come from motivation, but look closer. Your daily choices are not random. They are shaped by what is around you, what you see, what is easy, what is available in the moment when your energy is low. Because the truth is, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your environment. If your space is filled with distractions, with easy access to unhealthy habits, with no structure, then even the strongest intention begins to weaken. Not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is designed to follow the path of least resistance. And right now, your environment may be working against you without you even realizing it. But the moment you understand this, you gain a new kind of power. You stop blaming yourself and you start redesigning your life. Imagine this shift. Instead of relying on willpower every time you feel tempted, you simply remove the temptation. You make better choices easier and worse choices harder. You place what supports you in front of you. You reduce what pulls you away. This is not restriction. This is strategy, because your brain responds to cues faster than logic. When something is visible, accessible, and easy, you're more likely to choose it. When something requires effort, distance, or delay, you pause. And in that pause, awareness returns. That small pause can change everything. Now extend this beyond food. Look at your daily rhythm. Is it chaotic or is it structured? Do you eat at random times, or does your body know when to expect fuel? When your day lacks structure, your body feels uncertain. Hunger signals become confusing. Cravings increase. Energy rises and crashes without warning. But when your routine becomes predictable, your body relaxes. It adapts. It begins to trust the rhythm you create, and trust is powerful. Because when your body trusts your routine, it stops sending urgent signals. It stops pushing you toward excess. It finds balance. This is why simplicity works: fixed meal times, consistent patterns. Small, repeated actions that remove the need to constantly decide. Every decision you remove saves mental energy. And that energy can be used to stay aware, to stay present, to stay in control. Even your sleep becomes part of this equation. When you are tired, your body looks for quick energy. It craves more, it seeks comfort, and your ability to choose wisely weakens. But when you are rested, everything changes. Your mind is clearer, your impulses are calmer, your choices become stronger. This is how everything connects. Your environment shapes your actions. Your actions shape your habits shape your body. And when you align these elements, you stop fighting yourself. You stop relying on bursts of motivation that fade. You stop starting over again and again, because now your life is working with you, your space supports you, your routine guides you, your energy stays stable. And slowly, almost without noticing, the struggle disappears. Not because you became stronger overnight, but because you became smarter with how you live. And that quiet shift, that invisible design, is what makes staying slim feel natural, not forced. And when your environment begins to support you instead of sabotage you, something inside you starts to settle. The noise fades, the pressure lifts, and for the first time, you realize this was never supposed to feel like a fight. Because at the center of everything you've been building, there is one thing that determines whether it lasts or disappears: your mindset. Not the loud kind that pushes you for a few days. Not the aggressive voice that demands perfection, but a quiet, steady mindset that stays with you even when motivation is gone. Most people approach change with urgency. They want results now. They want proof that it's working, and when they don't see it fast enough, doubt creeps in, frustration builds, and slowly they give up. Not because they failed, but because they expected the wrong timeline. Real transformation is not fast, it is subtle. It happens beneath the surface, long before it becomes visible. And if you don't understand that, you'll quit right before it begins to work. This is where patience becomes power. When you stop chasing quick results, you remove the pressure that leads to burnout. You stop forcing outcomes and you start trusting the process. And that trust creates consistency. Consistency is what changes your body, not intensity, not perfection. Just steady, repeated action over time. But for consistency to exist, your mindset must shift from control to respect. Respect for your body, respect for your limits. Respect for the pace of real change. Because when you respect your body, you stop punishing it. You stop overloading it with extremes. You give it what it needs, not what your frustration demands. And in return, your body begins to respond differently. It stops resisting. It starts cooperating. This is why extremes never last. Extreme diets, extreme routines. They create temporary results, but they destroy long-term balance. They exhaust your mind. They disconnect you from your body. and once that connection is broken, everything feels harder. But when you choose moderation, something powerful happens. You remove fear. You're no longer afraid of eating. You're no longer afraid of missing a day, because your system is flexible. It adapts. It continues. This flexibility creates freedom, and freedom creates sustainability. Now think about how different that feels. Instead of living in cycles of starting and stopping, you are simply continuing, adjusting, improving, moving forward without pressure. That is real control. And with that control, your identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to lose weight. You start seeing yourself as someone who lives in balance. Someone who eats with awareness, someone who moves naturally, someone who respects their body. And once that identity takes root, your actions no longer feel forced. You don't need to ask what the right choice is. You already know, not because of rules, but because it aligns with who you've become. This is the moment everything becomes effortless. Not because it requires no action, but because the action feels natural. You're no longer fighting yourself. You're no longer relying on bursts of motivation. You're simply living in a way that supports your body every single day. And that is the real transformation. Not just a change in how you look, but a change in how you think, how you act, and how you live. A way of living where staying slim is no longer something you chase. It's something that happens, quietly, consistently, and naturally, as a reflection of who you are becoming. And when that way of living becomes natural, you begin to understand something most people spend years chasing. There was never a secret outside of you. The real secret was always in how you think, how you respond, and how gently you choose to guide yourself forward. Because the moment you stop fighting your body, you stop creating resistance. And when resistance disappears, progress begins to flow. You start to feel lighter, not just physically, but mentally. The constant pressure fades, the guilt fades. That heavy feeling of "I should be doing better" slowly disappears. And in its place, something stronger begins to grow: self-trust. Self-trust is what changes everything. When you trust yourself, you don't need strict rules. You don't need external pressure. You move with confidence even in small decisions. You know when to stop. You know when to move. You know when to rest. And that clarity removes confusion, because confusion is what keeps people stuck. Too many rules, too many opinions, too much noise. It overwhelms the mind and weakens action. But when your approach is simple, everything becomes clear. Eat with awareness. Move naturally. Build a supportive environment. Stay consistent with patience. That's it. And in that simplicity, there is power. Now, something inside you might still be holding on to doubt, wondering if small changes are really enough. Wondering if this slower path can truly create real results. But think about it honestly. Everything that didn't work before, what did it have in common? It was rushed. It was extreme. It was unsustainable. So maybe the answer was never in doing more. Maybe it was in doing what actually lasts, because what lasts transforms. And once you start seeing small results, something incredible happens. Your belief begins to grow, not from words but from proof, real proof, the kind that builds quietly day by day. Your clothes feel different, your energy feels different, your mind feels clearer, and those changes don't feel forced, they feel earned. That feeling becomes your motivation, not hype, not pressure, but a deep internal drive that keeps you moving forward without resistance. You no longer need to start over, you simply continue, and that is the most powerful place you can reach. Because starting over means something was temporary, but continuing means something has become part of you. This is where staying slim stops being a goal and becomes your normal. Not because you're trying harder, but because you've aligned everything. Your habits, your environment, your mindset, all working together, not against each other. And when everything aligns, there is no struggle left, only flow. You wake up and move naturally. You eat and feel satisfied. You live without that constant weight on your mind. And for the first time, it feels effortless. Not easy in the sense of doing nothing, but easy in the sense that you are no longer resisting yourself. You are finally on your own side. And that changes everything. Because once you reach this point, you realize something powerful. You don't need to chase a version of yourself anymore. You are already becoming it, step by step. Choice by choice, day by day. And this time it's not temporary, this time it stays.